measuring what you do, by understanding what's important within the portfolio of the work that each of you may have on your desk. And then once you start measuring it, understanding which of those things are bringing the most value to the organization, and which of those things we might do better by understanding the metrics and the measurements that we do. So if, for instance, I always use this as probably a really simplistic way of looking at it. In my previous organization, we used to go to the accounts payable department and we used to measure how many void checks we had. In our mind, a void check means an error took place. Why else would you void a check? So in a simplistic world, if you measure void checks and you consider every void check to be an error, and you have 20 of them a month, there's some cost associated with that void check. You had to process it once, you have to void it, you have to process it again, all kinds of things. So if you want to be more efficient, you figure out what's causing those void checks. If it's systemic, you figure out what it is, then you can do something about it and you can be more efficient. If you take that mentality through everything that we do, if you figure out what you should measure, and then you can figure out where your good work comes out and where your not so good work or inconsistent work comes out, it's a great way to systematically and almost scientifically work through those areas to make you or make us a more efficient individual or department, and the processes start to make more sense when you go through them. So that we will be spending a lot of time on that, and we do have a position open that we're recruiting for to bring in someone to help us through that. Customer satisfaction, talked about last year's report, and one of the things as the department directors came together was to identify what they were going to focus on for this year. So each of you should be working with your department directors in terms of specific plans for each department. These are kind of the areas that bubble to the top the most often, making sure that we're good at our functional capacity. That's what the world outside of our departments want of us. They want us to be the best contracting people, best accounting people, best procurement people, the best IT people. They want us to have a expertise in our discipline. They want empathy. They want us to care about them. They want us to say, get a phone call and something not working is to say, oh, gee, I know, that's too bad. I really want to help you. I realize that if something didn't work, I need to do something about it to help your life be better. Accessibility, making sure you do pick up the phone every once in a while when someone calls you or answers an email. And responsiveness, answer that email, answer the phone call. Right along with that comes the area of communication. I think one of the areas that we can do, it's not really hard to do, but it's really important to do, is improve our communication. Make sure that you're outwardly facing, that you're communicating to people about what you're doing about their problems, what you're doing in your own role. If there's information that you think somebody else could benefit from having, share it with them. So I think all of our directors are going to be doing a lot of work on identifying what are the best things and how to communicate better to the rest of the world. Capacity building, two-way street. My first and foremost goal is your capacity building. Helping you get better at what you need, at what you have to do to make our departments work well. So if you need training, if we need our managers to be trained, if we need training on customer service, if we need project management training, getting people the right tools to help them do their jobs. Once we're able to do that, we also will have the ability to do external capacity building. In our terminology, external capacity building is helping the field get stronger. So taking our expertise and sharing it, being able to hold training sessions, being able to go out to the field if we're asked to help them to do something that they need some additional training in. We have a lot of departments that do this already and do it quite well. And I think that we need to continue to do it well, and we need to build that capacity when we're not doing it in some other areas. Financial system stabilization. We've been doing a lot with Lawson. This has been a year where we've really tried to almost retrench a bit, try to look at the issues we've had with the use of Lawson, as well as training. Lawson training is also capacity building. But making sure that as we move forward, that we're picking the right places to go for a Lawson rollout, and we know where we're going to go, where we're not going to go. Taking a look at QuickBooks, QuickBooks 11 versus QuickBooks, I don't know, 1984, whatever we have. Making sure the right version of QuickBooks is out there and we know what the capacity is. And if we need to train up our field staff on that, if we want to do more with QuickBooks, to go there. Looking at our other financial systems, making sure that the other things that we use, like the CTL or other things, are meeting our needs. So I don't think we all should think that Lawson is the only financial system we have. We know it's not, and there are a lot of other components of that that we have to look at this year. And that's why we have Jim here, so thank you. It's going to help us through all that. So with that, I'm concluding my part of the presentation, but I will stop for a few minutes, and if I can answer questions, I will take a few questions and try to keep us on time. Anybody have any questions for me? We'll have time also at the end, I think, for questions if you don't have any right now. Great, okay. I don't know who's next up. Who was the next on the list? There we go.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay at the back? Yes? Okay. So, as Kim mentioned, I'm going to talk a little bit today about compliance and AED and what that means at PSI. So my first question is going to be, who knows what AED stands for? Samantha?
Educational Development.
Academy for Educational Development. Second question is, who knows what happened at AED? Who wants to give a very brief summary of what happened at AED? Heidi, you put your hand up twice.
There were some donor